Hello everybody, it is I, Captain Oblivious Mist, and you first of all might realise, where's your Baltic video? Still working on that, but it's taken me a bit longer than expected, so I just thought I'd make this short filler video on a ship suggested to me by a viewer. His name will appear right now. Now, the reason why I haven't recorded an in-person intro for this is, well, I haven't got time. As I said, this is going to be a very quick video to make. And I don't want to waste the time of getting the complete angle and setting up everything for an intro like I usually do, hence the slightly different intro. But today we're going to be looking at the, I believe it's pronounced Kathryn spirit. So, a bit different for this channel, but hope you still enjoy, and it might be one of my shortest videos yet. But without any further ado, let's get into the video. The 60s. Isn't it amazing? A time of complete and total peace where nothing bad ever happened. Well, what if I told you that in the 60s, a ship that would happen to have one of the most interesting demises ever was being built in a shipyard in Sweden? I'd hope you'd believe me, as that ship is the Kathryn Spirit, the subject of today's video, and her life begun in a shipyard. Shipyard? What the hell is a shipyard? And her life begun in a shipyard in Gothenburg, I believe that's how you pronounce it, where she was built for the SAA Transport Company, and she was to have two sisters, both of which would obviously, like her, be bulk carriers, and were also powered by two diesel engines powering one screw, giving her and her sisters a surface speed of 16 knots. Quite slow, I know, but apparently it was good enough for the company that owned her, as she was owned by that company for 26 years, the longest she was owned by any company. But eventually she was sold to a Norwegian company, where she was planned to serve the Great Lakes, and then, in 2006, a company based in Hamilton bought her, where she was renamed the Kathryn Spirit, and then became a Canadian-owned ship. And something noteworthy about her was the fact that in 2007 she would become the first ship to transport wheat from Churchill Port to Halifax, Nova Scotia. This would not last, and she would ultimately come to a rather interesting end. After a period of being laid up in 2011, the Kathryn Spirit was sold to a shipbreaking company whose name I am not even going to try and pronounce. Now, the company wanted to scrap the Kathryn in the Greater Montreal area. The mayor of a place that I'm also not going to try and pronounce opposed this plan, as they were scared that the scrapping of the ship would cause pollution in the nearby area. And this, as well as a member of parliament backing up the mayor, resulted in this plan being scrapped and not the ship. Speaking of, the ship was then sold to a Mexican company who, for the millionth time in this video, I'm also not going to try and pronounce their name, then proceeded to hire a Bolivian tug called the Craig Trans to tow the Kathryn Spirit, but ultimately ended up being detained at Halifax due to poor safety and living conditions. Oh dear. Thankfully though, for the crew of the tug, they're repatriated, but the same could not be said for the poor Kathryn, as she was suffering from many delays, and in fact in 2013 she was delayed due to water ingress, also known as the water breaching the ship. And then in 3 years later, in 2016, Kathryn was still there, but had deteriorated to the point where they were concerned the ship might even pollute the river. Due to this, the committee was set up to deal with this issue, and they decided to break up the ship without moving her. And work begun 2 years later in 2018. But some unseen force seemed to have different plans, and she caught fire and burned for several hours. Because you can say that's pretty hot. I should have probably stopped with the puns in the Mauritania video, shouldn't I? Yeah. But anyways, shortly after the fire was put out, everyone who was working on the ship decided to hurry up and break the ship up before something like a meteor falling on the ship happened. Note, I was being sarcastic about the meteor part. I would just like to start off this epilogue by saying thank you to 91 Mustang LX And I will continue on by saying, don't worry, the Baltic video isn't scrapped. I've just had to delay it a fair few times due to the fact I've been quite busy with schoolwork. So what I've ended up doing is I decided to make a filler video on a slightly different ship. As you can tell, this is a very short video. And the reason for this is there isn't really much to talk about with this ship, and there's not really much I wanted to talk about with this ship other than her demise, which was surprisingly interesting for a cargo ship. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say in this epilogue, apart from hopefully my Baltic video will be coming out soon. And I actually recorded / kept a little blooper of me at the beginning when I accidentally said Canada the wrong way. So hope you enjoy. Thank you all for watching. Came Kathryn owned ship. Who the hell is Kathryn?